Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Knows podcasting network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Rod, and Chris. Rod, what are you hot about tonight?
Oh, I'll tell you what I'm hot about tonight, Jim. We had the Money in the Bank ladder match, and we all had to mess with Rod's heart, right? We literally had to just wait no more matches than just a few after the damn ladder match is over that my guy already has the Money in the Bank winner walking down near the ring with him. Then Raw happens. So this is just my life now, Jim. I have to be anxious and on the edge of my seat that Seth freaking Rollins is going to lose the belt in some bullshit garbage scenario to the Judgment Day. And you know how hot I am, Jimmy, because I just opened Blue.
And you did open Blue. I got to put the little tag on the podcast there. That's fine. Yeah, sorry, Rod. That's my fault. I was the one who said if the men's Money in the Bank ladder match is first, watch out. And then you were just downhill from there. Speaking of downhill, over the hill, and all the hills combined,
it's over the hill, not downhill. Over the hill.
He fell down the hill. Chris King, give me an old man take. Was the crowd too loud for you on Saturday?
No, listen. I love that crowd, and I didn't know until John Cena surprised everybody and came out and talked about how apparently there's been issues in the past with the WWE not happy with the crowds in London, which I wasn't aware of. I thought it was great, though. I loved the chanting throughout the entire Premium Live event. I thought it was great.
So this is a huge thing for overseas. Crowds overtake the show and tell you what they want. Okay, so they'll boo the heels, or boo the faces, cheer the heels, things like that. But guess what, Rod? They didn't do it this time because it's good storytelling. Because Triple H has formed a good product for everyone to enjoy, and that is why this crowd was electric and on the same page as everyone else.
Okay, listen, I'm not going to push back against the storytelling. I'm certainly not going to go there, but let me enter in a little.
See, Rod can't even say what he's thinking because he knows he's wrong.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Like, we're just adding a little extra ingredient to the sauce here, okay? What I would say is I think that what happens sometimes with these foreign crowds, and Jimmy, you let me know, all right? We don't get shows there very often. So you're just pulling the absolute Marxist fans from all of the areas, even anywhere close to there, because it's their only shot at seeing a live event. And like I said, I'm not pushing back against the storytelling. You're correct there, but I just think it's good storytelling. And then like times 3, basically, because it's like, you know, how many times does the bloke from South London get a chance to come down and, you know, cheer his wrestling on? Not very often. So I think that's at play too.
So we're speaking the same language, I think, here, because it is the fans love wrestling in London, obviously, and they don't get a chance, so they go out there. But when they see shit, and see, we're going Blue anyway, so might as well just go the whole way with it. When they see shit, they call it out. There has been chants that have nothing to do with the match. There's been beach balls, everything that you could possibly imagine when crowds try to take over a show because they don't like what they see. Well, I mean, Vince is trying to mess with us, and we'll talk about Raw a little bit later. But in this case, they have liked what they saw. The storyline with the Bloodline Civil War is one of the best storylines because it's been so long and so well built up. And I'm saying one of the best storylines, you know, in the last 30, 40 years from the WWE, Chris. And that's why it works.
It's going to be hard pressed for me to enjoy anything bigger or better than what the Attitude Era was in the WWE. That being said, I do agree with you. I think this storyline with the Bloodline is really starting to finally pay off. And I know I wasn't here for the beginning, but I've been here for the past year plus, and I'm happy and thrilled that this storyline is finally paying off. It's been something I know you guys have heard me ask for a long time now, and now we're finally seeing it. We got to see Roman pinned for the first time in 3 years. What crowd anywhere isn't going to go bananas for that? And this crowd was great, and I don't think it's just the storytelling. These were good matches with with good wrestlers working in the ring. I mean, you can make an exception for Dom, but
The most over guy in WWE. Most over guy in WWE,
listen,
according to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Know's podcast network. Yeah We Know pod.
that's the definitive answer too. He is the most over.
He is. So let's talk about that main event here. I was watching on a little delay because it's 3:00 on a Saturday. What are you going to do, right? My Peacock. Let me tell you something about Peacock, real quick. Hey, figure it out, okay? Because all I'm watching, I see Roman 1, 2, and the thing stopped because I was too far behind the actual program and it went to the next program, and it wouldn't let me rewind it. It wouldn't let me start it over. I didn't know. So guess what? I had to go. I had to go to Twitter. And let me tell you something about going to Twitter this past weekend. How fun that was, trying to figure out what was going on. So anyway, we had the one and everyone in that crowd. It was the WrestleMania response when Roman pinned Cody, and it was 1, 2, 3. People are like, "Are you kidding me?" They did it again. When Roman stacked both the Usos on top of each other, it was that same thing again. 1, 2, but they did it right, Rod. They did it right. They had him kick out, and the place went nuts.
Oh, it was absolutely amazing. And I for one want to say the storytelling and the matches must be great because Jimmy, you're pretty legendary for complaining about the length of a premium live event. And we are at about 5-hour running time here on Money in the Bank. Congratulations, everybody who told their family, "Hey, I got this quick wrestling pay-per-view I got to watch here in the middle of the afternoon." And then you didn't get back with them until 8:00. How'd that go over with some people if you had a barbecue or some folks over? Because that's what happened to me. I rewound back, Jimmy, and didn't get caught up the way you did. I rewound just to the right point and then fast forwarded enough through some of the stuff that I stayed okay with it. But yeah, it was something else being that long. But the storytelling at the end made it worth it. You didn't even feel like you'd been sitting around for 5 hours because, Jimmy, you're right here. You're right. I still wonder if the right decision was made, but you called it. You said Roman would be on his back. He was. And I was completely surprised that they even gave us the stack up, right? I don't know. I was kind of surprised by that because I thought that, frankly, if you're going to give us that and then the Usos are going to kick out of it, how are the Usos ever going to get beat now at this point? Kind of is what I would say a little bit to the end. And I wonder what Chris thinks about that.
Well, Rod said it for the last year plus now that the Usos are the king of the kick out. And they proved it once again. Listen, yeah, I see what Rod's saying, that how do you say anybody's going to beat the Usos now? But let's be honest, if you want to go with the story, this is going to be the most emotional and big type of match that they'll ever have, or at least up to this point, because it's with family, including their brother. So you can say that they get up for a match like this and they can still get beat by somebody like Kevin and Sammy or the Street Profits or whoever it may be out there. So I will say, though, that even though there was a long running time on this premium live event went by really quick because all the matches were good and it didn't feel like you were sitting there for 3.5, 4 hours plus. Unlike Raw, which was only 3 hours, but still felt like it was going on 6 hours later after I started it.
You really hated Raw, and that's great. They did a good job of going from match to match with just a little video package in between. We don't need this 25-minute recap. We don't need somebody in a ring forever. Just move. And it was really great. I loved the reaction of both Roman and Solo after that happened, where Roman had no idea what to do, and Solo's like, well, we got to hit somebody, so I'm going to go hit somebody. Why not? So it's just the continued storytelling is terrific. We're going to get Roman and we're going to get Jimmy before SummerSlam. I have a feeling we're going to get that. Roman will beat Jimmy. We're going to get Roman and Jay at SummerSlam. Roman's going to beat Jay. I mean, that's going to happen. And I think that just building to Roman Solo, maybe at Royal Rumble, something like that. We'll see. Just moving this forward, it's going to be WrestleMania before Roman loses that belt. I have a feeling.
Did you just say that we're going to see Roman wrestle on a regular SmackDown and not a premium live event?
That might be the dumbest thing I've said, isn't it?
I don't think that we'll see Roman wrestle on a SmackDown again until, or even any weekday show until the next premium live event.
Never again.
No, he shows up on SmackDown every once in a while. When the Fox people really get after him, he shows up every once in a while and
Yeah,
he's like, all right, I'll actually wrestle. Because remember that match he wrestled against Riddle? That was a banger match. That was on a SmackDown.
How long ago was that, though?
It happened.
It surely did happen. You did mention that John Cena came out, and John Cena came out to put the little bug in everyone's ear that WrestleMania needs to come to London. Now, there is one reason and one reason only why they want to come to London. Rod, cover your ears. All Elite Wrestling is going to London in a couple of weeks, about a month, I think. They have sold 80,000+ tickets. They're expecting about 90,000 people to be in that arena. The WWE will not have that.
Who are 90,000 people packing that arena? No, we're not going to do it, Jim.
We're not going there because you don't know any of the names. That is what the WWE is going to do.
Bunch of janitors. That's who they're going to. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Wow. Man, you and Vince must be really good friends. But anyway, so that's why. Now, typically speaking, cities pay the WWE a lot of money to come and bring all that to their city. London doesn't need that. They're one of the biggest tourist attractions ever. They don't need to pay anybody because people are going to come anyway. But apparently, there's the rumors that they do want that to happen. So that's going to be pretty neat. And hey, for us especially, how about a WrestleMania starting at 3 p.m. instead of 6 or 7 p.m.? I'll take that every night of the week. I'm not going to lie, guys.
Yeah, 2 days in a row at that.
Exactly. Let's go to the men's Money in the Bank, who started things off and got Rod really, really nervous. We had Ricochet, LA Knight, Shinsuke Nakamura, Santos Escobar, Butch, and Damian Priest, along with Logan Paul.
Yeah, say it again, Jimmy. Who was it? Who came down to the ring? Jim? What did they announce him as?
I'm sorry, I got everything else correct in this match besides.
I wanted to point this one out because what did your friend tell you to do, Jim? What did your friend tell you to do? He told you to let go of this dream. Let go of this dream. I didn't want you to be hurt. You'd have pitched a perfect game if you didn't continue this nonsense that somehow he's going to be Pete Dunne.
It's gone. It's okay. He had a real good reaction for Butch as well. But let's listen. LA Knight. He's their star. There's a really good interview with LA Knight about people. Some people say he's kind of like a Rocker Austin, and I guess LA Knight was on the Rock's whatever gladiator show he had or whatever, and they do sound alike just in general. And he's like, that's how I talk, and we kind of do sound alike. But of course, Rod, and I know you and I kind of texted about this earlier. You are going to take things from the past. Hulk Hogan's not the first person to come out. What you gonna do? Superstar Billy Graham might have done that. Someone before him did that. You always take the good things from people and build on it to build your own character, and it's worked for LA Knight.
It absolutely has. And even if LA Knight was not going to be smart enough to build upon the greats of the past, which is what anybody tries to do in an arts-based industry, right? I mean, come on, if you're playing guitar, you're listening to Jimi Hendrix, you know what I mean? Like, that's just what you're going to do. But let's set that aside for a second. LA Knight grew up at a time where Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock weren't just the tip top of his particular industry. They were at the tip top of pop culture, all right? Guys like us in LA Knight's age, there wasn't anybody cooler on TV than Stone Cold and The Rock. Many of the things that they said and did entered the popular culture vernacular, not just the wrestling vernacular. So I'm not the least bit surprised that somebody that grew up then liked wrestling is going to have a little bit of that influence in them. And I don't consider it biting at all, but I'd be interested to hear what the old man thinks about it.
Yeah, I really don't have a problem with it either. Listen, this is wrestling. It's hard and very difficult to come up with new things that are going to get the people excited. That's why you see things like the choke slam that the Undertaker perfected, getting different types of renditions like the South of Heaven or some other types of variations. Or you see Seth Rollins using the pedigree that Triple H made famous. Or
who made it famous, Chris? Are we sure of that? No, you're right. I can't. I heard Seth Rollins and I was ready to attack, but you're right.
We see Roman, Edge do the spear, which we saw Goldberg make famous. LA Knight has essentially a rendition or a variation of the People's Elbow that he likes to throw out there now. I don't have a problem with it. For me, it gives me that nostalgia injection that I need to keep me invested, just like seeing Rey Mysterio out there or any other great legends are out there. That nostalgia helps me keep being entertained and invested in what's going on, and then making me a fan of someone like LA Knight.
And LA Knight, as over as he was, and they sure knew how to play with our emotions there, because he went through everybody at the end. It's like, oh, is he going to win? He didn't win, and that's fine, because if you do not have him winning the world championship or the whatever one of Roman's 3 belts, if you don't have him winning those belts anytime soon, he cannot win this match, because you want to keep him hot. You don't want him to fail. You don't want him to go to US or Intercontinental. It'd be stupid, or NXT championship. How about that? So I like that they did that.
It is tough, though. I will say this, though, Jim, for a layperson, right, who's maybe swooped in and watched Money in the Bank because of exactly what you were talking about before. They could catch it in the middle of the afternoon. It was the first match, right? The guy that everybody was going crazy for, because I've seen a few ladder matches now in my day, and I don't believe anybody's ever quite been that excited to see someone get to the top of the ladder. I mean, anytime you'd be in the ring and start moving the ladder to the belt, they'd go crazy. Yeah. So, but you're absolutely right. I think we're going to see a scenario where Austin Theory could be in trouble here. And, you can't have him have the briefcase, fail, and then mess with Austin Theory, because it doesn't seem like the right thing. But going to Austin Theory now seems like a step up, no?
I think so. It does, because then you get a belt on him, and he takes that belt and makes it even better. And I love that. Speaking of making things better, if you've ever been on a trampoline before with somebody else, and let's say you're jumping at the same time, and if you hit at the same time, you're both going to go high. If you don't hit at the same time, one of you is going to get destroyed. Your boy Logan Paul, your boy Ricochet, tried to do a Spanish fly off the top rope after falling off a ladder. To do that, they would have had to have hit the top rope at exactly the same time after all that. They didn't.
Ricochet, guess what? They did it.
Ricochet said, F it, we're still doing this. And Ricochet did kind of more of a something. He just tried to pull him over.
It's like they were slow dancing, right? When you're like 7th grade slow dancing, you kind of don't really know where to put your arms, but you really kind of want to get in a little close. It was that kind of deal as I cover the camera here.
And Logan Paul just landed square on his back right on the edge of the table, and it's horrible, and he's dead. You knew he wasn't going to win because he literally couldn't move, Chris. But I think that it continues to show dedication. It continues to show that he knows what he's doing. He is going to have a terrific match with Ricochet. They can have a terrific match if they give him time. I think it's LA Knight and Logan Paul at SummerSlam.
I like that. I'd like to see that. I definitely think that's possible if you do get LA Knight versus Theory before then and get a belt change. Just because Logan Paul is going to want to have a chance at a belt no matter what at some point in time, and with his contract, he's going to get those opportunities. But like I said, he was really just looking for that viral moment, and if they would have landed that move like they had planned, that would have been a great viral moment to do that Spanish fly off the top rope through 2 tables on the outside of the ring. That would have been a fantastic, and it was pretty close to a viral moment even with the flubs.
I was going to say they got it. Yeah.
Somebody at work knows I'm a big wrestling person, and they were like, hey, wasn't Logan Paul involved in some wrestling thing over the weekend? And then, like, instead of me having to explain a bunch of kayfabe and, like, who won the match, I got to tell them, oh, no, they tried to pull off this move, and Logan Paul crashed through a table and sliced his shoulder all up. It's like the 2nd time or 3rd time he's been hurt doing a WWE thing.
It was a fun match overall, and let me see. Who picked Damian Priest to win? I picked Damian Priest to win, and I like this because I was right, Rod.
Yeah, no, you listen. You proved why you are the one folks should really be listening to here. I prove on a daily basis of this podcast why I'm the entertaining one here, but you prove why you are the right one here, Jimmy, and you did it once again on Money in the Bank.
And I continue to prove that I know nothing.
I like Damian Priest because it does give him more. You know, the Judgment Day, each of them had their own kind
Can
of
we
thing.
not with Senior Money in the Bank though, please? Can we just not with that?
Yeah, I think that's a little much on that. I like the win there, and he doesn't have to win a championship. You know, he can go in, or you know, who knows? He can win the world. That's a good thing about the World Championship. People can win it, but to do that, you have to beat Seth Rollins and the World Heavyweight Championship match. I know, Rod, you were sweating the entire time.
Yes.
But wasn't very long for a world title match. I think Balor and Rollins have a good 35-minute match in them at some point in life coming up on a really, really big show. This wasn't the show for that. It was a good match all around, no question. But
we're going to break the Judgment Day up before we get that.
Yeah, Rollins gets the win. We all had that. It was pretty easy to see that was going to happen there. Any thoughts, Rod, on Rollins and the match there?
Well, no, I mean, you know, we all know my thoughts on Seth Rollins, so I will just move along here and talk about how I think that it's time, right? I think it's probably time to split up the Judgment Day. Maybe not necessarily completely disband the group, but, you know, Finn going off and doing his own thing would probably only elevate Damian and Dirty Dom and Mommy.
Dirty Dom.
I think it's time. Dom also needs some time away from the camera so he can grow that mustache because that's terrible.
Rhea Ripley's fantastic, though, in every way, shape, and form. Just the way she carries herself, the way her mannerisms. They had some house shows over the weekend, and she just did such a great job. I love Rhea Ripley, Rod. You were on the Rhea Ripley bandwagon before a lot of us. I mean, really, we all liked her, but you were like, no, she's number one. Why isn't she higher on our list? And we were wrong. So you were right on that one.
Here's what I would also throw out there in the air, though, right? Let's get a little sniff of this out in the air as well. We like to come down on Roman for not actually having a lot of matches where the world title is on the line and it's going against someone who we think might actually beat them. And like, I'm not jumping off the Rhea train at all, but can we get Rhea fighting someone that we believe might beat her in a match? I love Zelina Vega, picked her to win the women's ladder match. We'll find out in a second if I was right, but we never really thought she was going to beat Rhea, and Natty hasn't had a friggin' chance, and we just keep having this be the match. Like, it's time Rhea get herself a real opponent.
Chris, I thought the Natty match on Raw, though, Natty kind of brought it, though, a little bit. You knew she wasn't going to win.
Yeah, we didn't knew she wasn't going to win, but she did perform well. Like, she brought some brutality, something that you need from whoever is going to be wrestling Rhea on any given night. Like, I was impressed, much more so than the last couple matches I've seen her in.
Yeah, she was good. We have the Money in the Bank ladder match. Becky Lynch, Zoe Stark, Zelina Vega, Bayley, Io Sky, Trish Stratus. Oh, that's a shiner she got on that nose, isn't it? That was nasty what happened to her.
It's about time that a Hall of Famer comes back and actually has something, you know, put some money on the line, right? Like really gets out there and gets in the sick of it. And, you know, good for Trish Stratus. But that match was insane, man. I mean, like you could convince me that maybe was my favorite match of the night, even though we had the great Bloodline Civil War. And even though my guy Seth Rollins was involved in a match, but you could convince me this was the best match of the night. You could even convince me that the best spot of the night is when my pick, Zelina Vega, pulled that insane move off the top of the ladder and then slammed somebody down onto the second ladder, stretched across to the rope. That was nuts.
Yeah, the Canadian Destroyer on Zoe Stark. And you can see Zoe. I love when wrestlers protect themselves like they should. And it was great because you saw her get that head up, get the arms behind, because we're an audio podcast. You can't see me doing that. Maybe one day we'll get to video. But I thought that was terrific. That Canadian Destroyer off the ladder was great. Chris King, you're a handcuff kind of guy. What'd you think of that unique finish?
I thought it was good. I mean, I had a feeling after she had one cuff on her arm that would come back to play in some way, shape, or form.
Well, Chekhov's handcuff, for sure.
Yeah. So, like, you knew it was coming back into the fold. You just didn't quite know how. And until right there at the end, you still thought she was going to have a chance to get up there and get that Money in the Bank.
So I really, listen. Speaking about things I won't let go of, the Bailey. I thought this was more of a Bailey win here in this instead of Io Sky. Now again, Io Sky, no Money in the Bank women's winner has lost, so that's a big thing to think about. But I don't know if Io Sky will. I think she might win because she's really good at it. But this was really more of a Bailey thing, I thought, Rod. I'm okay with it because we're going to get good matches, and that's fine. Her and Ripley would be fantastic. But am I wrong here, or am I just being me? Am I just being Pete Dunne here?
No, I love that. That's a great call out by you there. No, what I think you're being here is on to something, right? I think you're kind of sniffing out something as it's occurring. You know what I mean? So that's where you're at here. You're always on the pulse of things, Jim. That's what I would say.
I appreciate the pulse gimmick there. In a match that we were all 100% correct on, Cody Rhodes and Dominic Mysterio. You hit it on the head, Rod. Brock Lesnar said, "I'm not going to London. What are you talking about? I'm not going to London. Not going to London." Cody Rhodes just beat the crap out of Dominic and got the win. If Brock Lesnar's not there, this is the match they needed to have Cody do.
I still was a little surprised that we just had Dom just straight up boom pin in the ring because, like, of course Cody's going to beat Dom in the ring, right? So I just thought that maybe we weren't going to get that, but to continue the great storytelling and the feel of that overall podcast, it was the ending we probably deserved. And Dom continues to be over, I guess. But I think we're starting to hear some rumblings that maybe some of Dom's boos are getting a little bit piped in. There's some rumblings I'm seeing on the wrestling Twitters, Jim, that maybe some of that's being piped in a little bit. Maybe we're getting a little extra amplification to the overness of Dom. We need to get our we know podcast investigative reporters on that.
First of all, how dare you? Dom is the most over wrestler in the WWE. Speaking of over wrestlers, Chris King, Gunther destroyed Matt Riddle, and my question for you during this match is, what did you think of Riddle's hair?
I think he was copying Ronda Rousey, right? Didn't it look a little?
Oh, I didn't think of that. Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay.
It had a little bit of the Ronda Rousey MMA look. That's kind of how I thought of it. It was odd.
If you want to get over with the WWE Universe, copy Ronda Rousey. Good move, Matt Riddle.
Usually they let their hair flow. Like Rollins lets his hair flow anytime he's in the ring, even though he will have it bunched up or man bunned up during his promos, but he lets it fly. You gotta let that hair fly, Matt Riddle.
What do you listen? We're in a video podcast. What do you know about hair flowing, Chris? Come on.
Listen, as a gentleman who is follically challenged, I spend an unusual amount of time studying other people's hair because I don't have any, Rod. I don't have any, so I get envious.
Chris, let's dig a little deeper on this. Nothing else happened after that match. Gunther wins and walked away. Chris King, your boy, is back. Drew McIntyre, ready to go, got cleaned up, some surgeries here and there, doing some events. He's back. They're going to have a battle, and it's going to be terrific, just like their Mania match was.
Yeah, you could put a 30-minute match up there with Gunther and McIntyre, and it'll be a banger for the whole 30 minutes.
Wait a minute, let's not bury the lead. What did you do when your boy's music popped? Come on.
Well, he popped.
No, I popped. I stood up. I was shocked because I really didn't expect to see him back for another month or so, but it was fantastic. You heard the sword unsheathed, and you just knew what was going on.
I'm gonna isolate that audio. You heard the sword unsheathed and you knew what was going on. Rod, is Gunther going to lose to McIntyre, or is there something else for him?
No, you know what? I was thinking that, Jim. I really was. And what are we gonna do? Gunther's gonna run for 2 years as the champ, right? You know what I mean? Like Rhea Ripley, she's gonna continue an unstoppable run. Like that's just what we're gonna do with certain belts. Like if you're gonna have Gunther go down, have him go down to somebody like Drew. Right, we thought Drew was getting a little stale because we couldn't figure something out with him, right? But now he's kind of that plucky underdog. We're all excited to see him back, but he probably can't be battling Roman or Cody or Seth, or because he's been out of that for so long. So yeah, why not? Why not have him beat Gunther?
I think we have Gunther lose relatively soon, so then we can really hit on the streak, the Roman Reigns streak moving forward until he finally loses that. Maybe at Mania, maybe not. Who knows? And I'm just gonna pat myself on the back. I successfully predicted that a tag team in the women's tag team championship match would turn on each other, causing a loss, and I was completely the opposite of that. Shayna Baszler turns on Ronda Rousey because she did, and Raquel and Liv Morgan are your new champions, undisputed tag team champions. Rod, do you care any more about Baszler now?
So, I mean, are we going to talk about? Are we saving the Raw thing until we get to Raw here a little bit?
We're going to kind of breeze over Raw, so let's talk about that now.
Okay, first off, let me touch on the Isla Dawn and what's the other chick's name?
I have to say it together, and I can't think of it right now.
Either way, the NXT champs, right? Like they're done dirty in all of this. Okay, they come up from the NXT roster holding a belt, lose to Alba Fire, only to lose to Ronda and Shayna, who then turn around and turn on each other and just completely give up the belts, and those just get vanished. And it's like Alba Fire and Isla Dawn are like, what did we do? And I have to stay true to my takes here, Jim, okay? I still do not care about Shayna Baszler, but I would be a complete hypocrite if I didn't come on here and say that the promo she cut against Ronda on Raw was absolute fire. If we come on here and we say we want people to be real and we say we want people to not treat us like idiots and understand that we know what's going on, Shayna Baszler coming down and saying all of the quiet stuff out loud that everyone says about Ronda all the time was perfect. But I still hate Shayna Baszler. She looks like a wet rat.
I really wanted to end the show there. I'm not going to lie, but I do want to talk about the Cody and Brock segment from Raw. That was fantastic. That was fantastic. Let's hit one thing on Raw, and then we're going to get out of here. I do want to talk about the opening to Raw. Seth Rollins comes out victorious, and obviously the crowd is loving him because everyone loves Seth Rollins. Then Cody's music hits. Very interesting because Cody the night before, a couple days before,
I didn't like it a damn bit, Jim. I didn't like it a damn bit.
He said a couple of days before that he really wasn't. He was kind of focusing more on Roman. And then, of course, Cody goes, so what would you like to? And then Lesnar's music hits. And the thing that I love the most about this, Chris, Cody looks up and says, let's go, and runs after, not staying in the ring, goes after him. They both fight. He kicks Brock Lesnar pretty good, doesn't he?
Listen, that's the first time I've ever seen somebody hand it to Brock Lesnar outside of the ring during a promo. Usually when it's a promo and Brock comes out, he is laying waste to any and everyone around him. And this time Cody said, I'm here, I'm ready, let's go, let's do this, and went head first right into it. And then, like you said, just beat Brock up. It was great. It was different.
Can we just take a pause here for a second? Okay, can we just please for a second? Cody Rhodes' music hits. He does this whole thing, right? The whole thing where the crowd's singing, the pyro goes, he takes off the belt, gives it to a little girl, walks down into the ring in full ring gear. To do what exactly? To do what exactly? I don't understand why he was in full ring gear at that point. To do what exactly? He didn't fight a match after that. Did he know Brock was going to come to the top of the circle? I don't understand why Cody was in his full ring gear to come out and interrupt my guy Seth, Jimmy. I did not like it one bit. And I also love Brock Lesnar. I love Brock Lesnar. He gets put in a corner too often as a guy who doesn't play along. He sold everything for Cody Rhodes that night and is absolutely helping to get the guy over.
And with that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Knows podcast.
Wait a minute, no. We have to talk about then Cody comes back later in the same episode of Raw. This time he's decked out in a suit. But this time it's different because he doesn't even bother coming all the way down to the end of the ring. He just stops at the top of the ramp to turn around, shake hands with a couple of fans, while the new backstage reporter is asking him a question. Mr. American Nightmare, Mr. Babyface is turning his back on the new reporter while she's asking him a question in a suit after he was dressed for a fight that he did not have. I don't understand what was going on.
I think it's got to be in Cody's contract that he has to be in a suit at least once for every Raw that he's on.
with Jimmy, Rod, and Chris.
I have to address it here. It didn't come up that my boys, the tastiest snacks in the WWE, failed to get it done on the SmackDown before Money in the Bank. But I'm telling you, the tag team belts are going to be around the waist of my guys, Pretty Deadly, before too long. Yes, boy!
Goodbye, net. Yeah.